Hi all, and thanks again for joining me on another episode of Sealed for Good. I hope you're having a great week, laying down lots of Gripset product out there and enjoying yourself out in the field. This week I'm talking about the Gripset E60, our vapor barrier primer and barrier coat. And now we can safely tell you that it is more than just a vapor barrier. It actually is a waterproof membrane, a rigid waterproof membrane that has been approved for potable water applications. And that has been tested to AS4020 by the Australian Water Quality Centre, which is a very valued certificate for us because it ensures that that product, when used in a water tank where it's going to come in contact with water for human consumption, it's safe to drink from. And that's very important to us. And the values that we hold at Gripset Industries to ensure that another one of our products out there is safe for human contact. So if you now look at our data sheets, you'll see that we can list that property further. And if you've got inquiries about those applications, put them through to us, because that is a test that tests about microbial growth, any mold or bacteria that can grow on the membrane when it's immersed in water, which can happen with some membranes and can create hazards for human consumption when it's for drinking water. If it's just for water storage in terms of fire tanks, that's a little bit different. But for human consumption, it is safe to use, and there's also a taste test, believe it or not. So that test is quite a lengthy one, and we're proud to have passed that now, and we'll be able to issue that and show it on the AWQC website shortly. So the advantages of the E60 in a water tank application, you might ask. There are a number of them. Firstly, it does dry faster because of its a two-part epoxy coating. Secondly, the hard wearing finish it's quite durable, and as I mentioned before, sometimes microbial growth, growth of bacteria, tends to happen on softer membranes when they're immersed. This being a harder and more durable finish prevents that from happening. So it not only prevents bacteria from growing on the surface, but it has a low dirt retention pickup. And in all tanks, water tanks, you'll always see when you look at the bottom of them, there are dirt particles or particles of whatever could be collected over time, but they are now visible on that compared to a bitumen coating, or even sometimes with a dark cementitious coating. So important that you can refer to that for that application. And also, if you've got any sort of water pH levels that are varying, even from a clean out situation, not that you have chemicals in the water for drinking water, but from a clean out perspective, when the tank might be emptied and then cleaned, for the fact that its epoxy nature, it has far greater durability than many of the cleaning agents that you could be using before you then wash that down, flush it, and then fill it again. So that's a great one to remember on that. So questions get brought up about the special preparation for E60 when you're putting it onto surfaces in tanks. It's no different than really what we use for most of our applications. Surface preparation is critical. However, we don't go and put this product in on water tanks, for example, like on block walls, unless it was a rendered block wall. This is an application, because of its hard durability and its rigid nature, it is suited for concrete poured tanks, which is one big benefit of it. Or if you've got a concrete block that's rendered tank, but in the joints you need to create a fillet. We wouldn't use our elastic-proof joint band with these applications with the E60 because it's not a flexible coating. So in those situations we'd use a curved fillet, which could be created using our 11YDM or even our seabed product that could be rounded out, and then the membrane goes over the top of that. Something rigid and firm on top is an important one. So the membrane applications, obviously, when you're using this, it can go over green concrete, damp surfaces free of surface water, remember that, as a vapor block primer. And when you are using in the membrane application, this is the benefit of it over just being a water tank application now, is the fact that you can cover it with any of our pre-mixed membranes through Gripset 38, our P39, to stop water vapor coming into the surface and blistering the membrane. And in severe applications with our two-part cementitious Gripset 2P or C1P if you needed to. Very rare you'd need that, but there are occasions where you may, and our tech services department can clarify that for you whenever that's required. This one comes up a lot though, but I just want to touch on the E60 because we get this from floor coating situations where people are putting self-levelers or screeds or even tile adhesives. It's rare for a tile adhesive to go directly over the E60. We would always recommend one of our membranes on top. But if you're ever laying a self-lever or screed on a moist concrete damp surface and you're worried about it popping, E60 definitely is a great product for that. You need to allow that in that second coat it to be sand cast with sand, and that actually gives it a key for those cementitious coatings. So remember that one, it is in our data sheet. But the other point is about the open window time to apply product over the E60. When you apply product on top of the E60, within 24 hours you can get over it. Up to 72 hours is when our recommendation is that you apply those finishes on top. The reason being is that you'll still get good adhesion to them, but after 72 hours, the E60 gets quite hard, and that's where it becomes more difficult for cement-based systems to bond to it or key to it, even if you've got the sand cast. If you find yourself getting on top of the E60 after that 72-hour period, it's quite easy, nothing to panic about. You give it a good clean down and you just reapply one more coat on top, and as long as the sand that you had broadcast is still quite gritty, then you can actually not have to sand cast again, otherwise sand cast in that final coat, and then after the recommended time get your product on there and apply it. So it's not that you don't have to grind it back or don't activate it with any chemicals. That's our recommendation, just clean and reapply the E60 on top. It'll bond to itself and then get the cementitious coating that you need on top. Otherwise, there are many of you, the smart ones out there, that just use the OP, put that down and get your membrane on top of that, or your cementitious coating on top of that if you need. It is a unique vapor barrier primer. Epoxies are, because of the nature of them, but they are quite durable, they're foolproof, and a lot of our applicator customers around the country love applying epoxy down as a safeguard. And I do like seeing when applicators put this type of primer down. It sort of refers to me that they're serious about priming and surface preparation, but get the surface prep right first before you put this down. If you've got any questions, you've got our 1-800-650-435 number. DM us on Facebook or Instagram, or just send your inquiry through to our website email address. And please don't forget to subscribe. I'm loving the discussions that you guys are engaging with us on. Lots of great inquiries over the last few weeks from our posts and ads. We love seeing that, we love hearing from you, and we love engaging with you. I'm going to see you next time.